everybody. I hope that you had as fun a weekend as I did. I just got a new boat. I was just telling Verl about it, so I had a lot of fun. You can see the extra redness on my Irish face that never gets any tan. So it was a good weekend. I hope you guys had some fun and got some business going. So we got a really fun one for you today. We've got Verl Workman. Some of you may have met him along the way. He's an industry icon. He runs a really great coaching system that he's going to give us some really good insights today. Let's just jump to the next slide. Just want to remind everybody about asking us questions, especially Verl. Verl says that he can shuck and jive with the best of them, right, Verl? So
that's right. Bring them on.
Yeah, ask any question that you might have. He's got the voice of reality. He works with hundreds and actually thousands of people around the country, so he's probably heard it all. So just click on that little blue bar, open up the gray little triangle, click on that, and then ask us any questions that you might like to. I wanted to and welcome a few of our regulars today. We've got Dennis and Tim and Mary, TZ, Philip, a lot of our guys and gals that come in regularly. So good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. So let's jump to the next slide, Verl, and let's just jump into this. So as I mentioned, Verl is the founder and CEO of Workman Success Systems. He's been in the business for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, Verl? How many years?
let's go with that. Let's go with that.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, so, one of the things that we've been doing a lot on the show is talking about, this is a good moment to sort of stop for a second and think about, where do I want to take my business next, right? Do I want to go deeper on technology, or do I want to join with a partner? And I know one of the questions that has come up several times is, what's the value of being on a team? Should I think about starting a team? How would I do that? What would be the questions I would ask myself to do that? I think if you've been on your own a lot, the idea of managing a whole team is like, oh, so much work, right? Managing people, and do I want to do that? And is it really worth it at the end of the day? So there's a lot of things here that I think, Verl, you can kind of walk us through some of those fundamental questions that people ask themselves and find out, what in your mind, when and why does it make sense to become a team? So just jump in and take us through some of your cool ideas.
Thanks, Marilyn, and thank you for having me. First, I want to say is that, nobody should really tell anybody else what kind of business they should build, whether you do an individual agent or a team. I know successful people in every aspect of the business, and this is just one of the ways that you can find success. And so if you have a great business and you're making the kind of money you want to make, and you enjoy your life and your family, and you get plenty of free time, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you're looking to grow, you want to make more money, you want to take more money home, and you want to work less, and you want to have more free time, and when you're with your family, you're actually present, then the only way to do that is to create leverage somehow. And the way that we create leverage is by doing 2 things. One is we use technology, and we use technology to create systems and processes so that we don't have things falling through the cracks, and that automation allows us to create scale. And then the second way is by incorporating human resources. Real estate's kind of a funny industry, Marilyn. When you go to when you go to pretty much any other type of business, it's very rare that the business owner does all the tasks in the business.
True.
And then here we go, right? You know what I mean? But you go to real estate, and it's like we have this weird thing that we believe that our value in the transaction is really super high. And the reality is, no one buys or sells real estate because of their agent. They buy and sell real estate because of life events that occur, and the agent is just a tool in the process. But agents have this mentality. The things I hear all the time are, nobody can do as good as me, and they really want me. That's why they hired me. The reality is they really don't care about you. They care about their family. They care about the home they're going to buy. They care about the kids, the schools their kids are going to go to. As much as I'd like to say they care about me, the reality is they really don't. They care about themselves. And when you understand that, now you realize what your role is in the transaction. Your job is not to make them buy or sell a house. Your job isn't to sell them. Your job is to provide a really high level of client information and care so they can make the best decisions for who they care the most about. And that's their family, not their realtor. And when you understand that, it changes your perception of how we're going to work in this business. I got to tell you, I don't know what you would do, but I ruptured my back a year ago, and I had to get a back surgery. I had to have my spine fused. And so when I found out I was going to go get my spine fused, I thought, okay, who do I want to do it? So I went to my doctor. My general practitioner said to me, "Oh yeah, I can see where it's blown out. It's really clear on the MRI, and I also do backs." Do you think that's the guy I wanted to do it?
No.
No. No, I want Tiger Woods' back doctor. I want whoever did Tiger surgery to do my back surgery. And so I started doing research. I wanted someone who did it so many times they just could do it in their sleep. I wanted the rock star of back surgeons. And so I found him. He happens to be in Salt Lake. This is the guy that did Tiger Woods' back surgery. And I said, okay, I want to get in to see him. So I called his office, and they go, yeah, we don't take patients. You have to be referred. And so my doctor referred. They go, yeah, we don't know your doctor. We're not going to take you. So like everything I did, they wouldn't take me. I couldn't even get in. And so this is just a funny story because you're talking about boating. One of the partners in our houseboat in Lake Powell is a physician. And I was telling his wife, and she says, oh, I play tennis with his wife. The doctor you want to see, I'll get you in. The wives can make amazing things happen.
Yes,
and so I get a call from the doctor's office, and they said, Dr. Reichman will see you. So I get an appointment. I'm so excited because I have my MRIs in my hand. I go down to the doctor. It's clear in Utah County, which is not close to me in Salt Lake City. And I get there, and I wait for 30 minutes. Don't they know how busy I am? And then I get a call, and a guy named Dave comes out, and he says, I'm Dr. Reichman's PA. And I said, great. He says, come on back. He put me on the scale and did my blood pressure, and then he put my MRI up, and he said, we've all had a meeting, and this is what we know, and this is what we're going to do, and here's what it talks about. And I said, great. When do I meet the doctor? He says, oh, you don't get to meet the doctor. I'm like, what? Don't you know that I have friends of friends whose wives know each other? He's like, yeah, you don't need to meet the doctor. I was like, all right, so let me ask you some questions. I started asking questions, and I realized he'd worked for the doctor for 20 years. He'd done hundreds and hundreds of these surgeries for all kinds of amazing people, athletes and Olympians and people that had got back to full ability to be able to compete. And he showed me what he was going to do and how they're going to do. I said, great, when do I meet the doctor? He said, you'll meet him on the day of surgery. And so day of surgery, I'm laying on the gurney on my back, and they're wheeling me back for surgery. I hadn't even met the doctor yet. And an anesthesiologist comes in. He's a specialist, by the way. And he says, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to put this little mask on your head. I'm going to give you a shot in your IV, and you're going to count backwards from 99. When you get to 98, you won't remember anything. And I said, don't give me the shot. I haven't met the doctor. Doc comes in, pulls his mask down, says, Verl, Dr. Reichman, Leanne Means says to tell you hello. I'll take good care of you. See you on the other side. Gave me the shot.
Bye-bye.
Think about that whole process. Right? Is that crazy? So then I get done, and I come out, everything was great. I've never seen him since. I met with Dave. I was then given a physical therapist. I had somebody going to the pool and making me swim laps. During this whole process, I worked with a specialist at every part of it. And I'm swimming, and I feel great now. My back feels so much better than it did before surgery. Well, when I think of that experience, I think about real estate. What if I had gone in and the doctor would have greeted me himself, and he would have said, can I see your insurance card? How are you going to be paying for this? That would have been weird. And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In real estate, we have this perception that we have to do all things. But the reality is today's consumer, they are trained to work with specialists, not just in the medical field. Look, if you get injured in an accident, you call a general attorney or you call an injury specialist. We all deal with specialists in everything that we do. So in real estate, why not create specialties as well? And so the doctor, I want the surgeon there at the most important part. I didn't really care if he did my physical therapy. I didn't care if he ran the anesthesia. I didn't care if he did the pre-meeting. I cared that when it was time to cut my back open and go in and install hardware in it, that he didn't cause any damage to my nerves. I wanted that rock star surgeon at the most important part of the transaction. And I believe in real estate that if we took that kind of an attitude towards our businesses, it would change the way we look at the business and create tremendous scale. We coach and train many of the top elite teams in the world. And what I've learned about them is that they learn that the way that they provide better service to their clients is they create specialists in every area of the transaction.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second on that, Verl. So,
yeah, bring it on.
Were you sad or not? Did you feel any disappointment that you paid, I'm sure, a lot of money for Tiger Woods' back surgeon, and you did not have any relationship with him at all? Did you care about that?
No, I care that I can walk and I can sit on a plane without having pain. I care that I can pick my grandkids up and give them hugs. And there's 9 of them. And so, yeah, so in the moment, at that very moment, I wanted the best thing for my family, and that was for dad and grandpa to be healthy.
Okay.
I didn't care about the relationship. I cared that I had the best guy doing the activity that took care of my family. So think about that.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I've got great relationships with people I would never let cut me open.
That's a good point. There's a lot of people I would never let cut me open. Most people, actually. That's funny.
Right, right. So real estate's a relationship business, and the relationship is really important. And so I'm not discounting the value of the face-to-face communication and the sitting down with a client and really providing them great value in the transaction. I'm just saying that you're not the only one that can do it. And so you can develop phenomenal relationships and you can do unbelievable transactions and have the client be a raving fan without ever meeting the client yourself.
That's a really interesting way to think about it. That's a great one. All right, let's jump in. Tell us what we got here. This I thought was a really interesting metric that you used.
So this is kind of so we track everything, and I'm sure we'll have an opportunity at a future date to share some like elaborate tracking, some of the things we do. But one of the things that's really important is that you understand your numbers. So before you go and decide to start a team, I want you to think about these numbers. Ask yourself this, first of all, for every listing that you get, are you generating 6 to 8 leads a month? Because we know if you do it correctly, when you list a property, you should generate 6 to 8 leads a month. For every listing that you close, you should close 1.5 buy-sides. So if you listed 10 houses this year, you should have 15 buy-side transactions or a total of 25. If your numbers aren't right, then that means that you have systems that are missing your business. So usually if you're listed 10 houses and you haven't done 15 buy-sides, it's because you believe you're too busy, or you work with the A buyers that are ready to go right now, but the ones that are B's and C's you don't follow up with long-term and convert. And so your numbers are out of whack. And so you think that everybody needs me because I provide great service, but the reality is you suck. You don't even follow up. You don't call them back. You don't call them back 7 or 8 to 12 times what it takes to convert a lead. You do it once or twice, and if they don't get back to you, you go away, never to be heard from again. So you think you're protecting your brand by doing it yourself, but the reality is you're leaving a lot of money on the table and you're not providing great service because you're not following up with people. The next thing that I've learned is that for every 25 leads, so let's just say, for example, you have 10 listings, Marilyn. If you had 10 listings, according to these numbers, you're generating 60 to 80 leads a month. Is it physically possible for one person to follow up with 80 leads this month, 160 next month, and 80 more the next? You understand? Can you personally follow up with that many leads and do a good job of it?
No.
No. So here's the math. So we know that for every 25 leads we generate, we add a buyer's agent. And so what I like to do is I like to look at what my goals are. I want to hit 100% of my goals in listings, and then I want to have systems and people help me with the buyers that are generated through the process. And so that's how we go through the process of determining whether or not we should start looking at creating scale in our business through technology and people. Technology is huge. It's a huge part of it. I mean, your company's called RE Technology. You know how important technology is in the ability to create scale.
Interesting. Okay, great. So,
yeah, does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, it's just I think one of the things too that my perception would be is that sometimes people think they are listing agents and that they don't necessarily throw off or even focus on buyers, right? That they want to get listed. So that's an interesting perspective. You got to be both all the time. Yeah.
Well, and I agree with that. I think that if you really think about it, I mean, let's just think logically about where you should focus. When you get a listing, one listing, it takes you 2-3 hours, and you close 1.5 buy-side transactions. That's 2.5 transactions. When you work with one buyer, you spend 20 hours and you get one transaction. So you want to do 2 to 3 hours for 2.5 sides, or do you want to spend 20 hours for one side?
Right.
So when an agent says I want to focus on listings, it's because they understand that math. It totally makes sense. But then when they're associated with those leads that happen on the properties and they don't follow up because they're focused on listings, then they're damaging their own brand equity by not following up. And so when they think they're doing a better job, what they're doing is just leaving money on the table and not really supporting people. But a lot of people do both. You know, they'll work buyers and they'll work sellers. And when you're really good at the business, this is what I've learned. If you're really good at anything, it just creates more opportunity. So when you provide great service to your clients, you do a good job in the negotiation, you don't let things fall through the crack, their deal actually closes and within budget, and you kept all the promises you made, they send you business. And so the more deals you do, the more business that comes in, the more pressure it puts on you to be able to handle it all. And so at some point, something has to give. You either have to right-size your business and tell your clients, I'd rather turn you down than let you down, or you have to recognize that you're doing all of this business at the expense of your family, which really matters more. So when you say yes to one thing, you say no to something else. And so, Marilyn, one of the worst conversations I'll have with an agent is after a conference or a seminar, someone will come to me and I'll say, tell me about you. And they'll say, well, I'm a normal realtor. I'm divorced.
Oh, that's sad.
And that hurts my heart because it doesn't have to be that way. And what they're basically saying is that I spent so much time focused on providing for my family, I did it at the expense of my family. And I don't believe that any other success, and I mean this from the heart, I don't believe that any other success can compensate for failure in the home. That our kids don't need our money, they need us. They need us to be present in their lives. And that's true with our spouses and our parents and the people that we care most about. And so instead of getting a real estate license to create a great job for yourself, what if you got your real estate license and built a business that served your lifestyle, not became your lifestyle?
That's exactly right. Now, the slide that's up here, this is a topic that we've talked about a lot. We actually had Transactly on a couple of weeks ago talking about assistance and things. And again, it goes back to your same point about when do I need to get help? When do I stop doing all the steps myself and when do I start getting those specialists, right? And a client care coordinator is just one of those people. Tell us about your perspective on that.
Yeah. Okay. So I want everybody to write this down. Okay. Everybody, Dennis and Mary, and everybody's in the questions in the chat box that says hello. I'm glad you all are here. I want you all to write this down. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. So right now I am one, or I need one, whatever that means to you. If you don't have an assistant, you are one. And it's not. Look, the tasks have to get done. But my brain surgeon is not the receptionist in his office. The neurosurgeon focuses on surgery. We get paid so much money to be great at real estate, but yet we spend 70% of our time doing administrative tasks that don't generate any revenue. All they do is support the salesperson. And so if you're spending 70% of your day doing tasks that you can pay somebody else $20 an hour to do, what you're saying to your family is, you're not worth $20 an hour. I'd rather stay at work. Is that a hard thing to say?
No, it's true,
though. I don't mean to be harsh, but it's kind of true, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so I believe that, and this is I believe the day you should hire your first assistant is the day you get your license, and you should never be in real estate without one. Because if you spend any of your time doing non-dollar productive activities, I can never get you to that place where you're making $1 million a year net income, because you're not focused on the right thing. The only difference between those who are average and those who are exceptional has nothing to do with the quality of the person. It has everything to do with the activities they focus on during their day. I know really average people that are 7-figure income earners in real estate. And I know some exceptional people that have a high level of morality and ethics that do an amazing job for their clients that make $100,000 because they focus on different activities during their day. And so what I want you to do is think about this. You can get an assistant the day you start. The misperception is you think you have to buy and have somebody on salary. There's companies that do virtual assistants. You just mentioned one. You can hire just a transaction coordinator. When you get somebody under contract, you give them the file, you pay $300 and they go contract to close.
So, hey, I want to ask a reality question about that. So if I'm a brand new agent, frankly, I'm still trying to figure out what the heck it means to be an agent, right? Because I haven't quite figured out the business yet. How do I hire or find a coordinator that can help me? Is it someone that has more experience than I do ideally? Or what would you suggest? That's a really...
Yeah, I would start by finding somebody else who already has a team or that has a client care coordinator and saying, look, I'm new in the business. I need to focus on prospecting right now. If I get something under contract, can I pay your client care coordinator to help me?
Gotcha.
And they'll say yes. So find someone who's already good at the business because they already have their systems in place. The other thing, brand new in the business, I think the best teacher of real estate, and look, I do a lot of training products and online stuff. The best teacher of real estate is the game. And so like starting over, my son-in-law got his license. The first thing I did is I said, go find a team. Here's the ones that I coach. Go interview with one, find the one that likes, and I want you to work for a team for a couple of years and do a lot of deals, because there's no better teacher of real estate than the game. And I want you to do transactions. I mean, just to be a buyer's agent on one of our teams, the minimum level of acceptable performance is 2 deals a month. So unless you're doing 24 deals a year, you don't even get to stay on the team. We want you 48 to 60 transactions. When you're in a team environment, you just do it more. And when you do it more, you just get better at it. And then when you get better at it, all of a sudden you understand where your time is best spent. Prospecting, negotiating, and then listing or showing the houses. That's it. Everything else, we delegate.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Yeah, so day one, you get a virtual assistant. Get your kids to help you. Yeah, like you want to have someone, and I don't mean that flippantly. I mean that if you have someone who's sharp that can help with the transaction processing, that learns the business, have them help you. I like the idea of using somebody in the office. When we hire buyers, when we hire client care coordinators, if you're already doing, say 20 transactions a year, you're already at a place where you're feeling a little bit of pressure, because if I had you at 20 and I was coaching you, I would expect you to double in the next 12 months. We would go from 20 to 40, and we would do that by looking at what you're really good at and then creating leverage by giving you support. And then when you hit 40, the very next year we'll double it. We'll go to 80. And the way we do that is by tracking the things that matter and then creating scale in that. I won't talk about the hiring right here for a minute, but let's talk a little bit about a buyer's agent, or what a buyer's agent looks like. And so if you're running a business and you've got, say, 3 or 4 listings, let's say you had 10 listings, Marilyn, using the numbers that I said before, you're generating 60 to 80 leads. And for every 25 leads, you need a buyer's agent. So if you maintain 10 listings, you should have 3 buyer's agents on your team.
Yeah, that's a lot more, I think, than most people would think of, right? That metric is a lot more dramatic than I think than the average person would think of. Interesting.
It absolutely is. And I want you to think about this. If you had 3 agents on your team whose minimum level of acceptable performance is 2 transactions a month, that's 6 deals a month, and you haven't had to touch.
Right.
So you're helping 6 times the number of customers, and they're getting specialist care. So let me talk about compensation for buyer's agents. When we do a buyer's agent, when we bring a buyer's agent on, your job as a team leader is to create stability and security for your team members. And so your job is to be profitable. And so when we do splits, let me tell you how we do splits. I'll show it to you. Now I'm going to give you a landing page here in a minute, and I'm going to give you this stuff. So in our buyer specialist agreement, the way we do a buyer specialist agreement is the buyer specialist gets paid 40% on the first 2 deals they do in a month, 45-55 on deals 3 and 4, and 50-50 on 5+. I want the team leader to be at a 50% net after the cost of sale. So after the lead generation, paying for the assistant, and paying the agent's commission, I need them to be at 50%. So I can't start them on a 50-50 split. That's bad business. Mm-hmm. If I were to start a buyer's agent on a 50-50 split, Marilyn, and then I had all the expenses, that means they'd be making 70 to 80% of the profit, and I have all of the risk. And so I don't have the ability to create stability or security in the business. It's a bad business model. And so people say, well, how do you get someone to work on a 40% split? I know that's in your mind. Who would work for that?
Nobody works on those anymore. How are you doing that?
Our teams all work on that. So I would simply ask you this question. What's more important to you, the split you're on or the amount of money you take home to your family?
Right. Absolutely.
So which is it?
You put money in the bank. You don't put percentages in the bank.
That's right. And so I'm going to create an environment, and I can do the math on this and show you, but our agent, so what the average realtor does 7 transactions a year, right? 7 transactions a year at 100% of the commission is a lot less money than 24% transactions at 40%. You'll make a ton more, and you don't have to do all the paperwork and all the marketing because we handle that as a team. Right. And so it changes. We onboard them. We have a very clear structure of what they have to do. They have to do the daily success habits every day. We prospect, show homes, negotiate contracts. Everything else is handled by the team. And then we break that down for. I'll give you guys a copy of this if y'all want it.
Yeah, that'd be
I'll have you,
great.
I'll
I did
yeah,
want to stop for
happy
one
to
second.
share.
Earl, I want to ask how many people on the call either are in a team or are thinking about creating a team? Just want to get a sense of that.
Yeah,
But
I'd love to see that.
yeah, keep going.
Okay, so as they type that in, so once we get them in, then of course we put them through what we call buyer agent mastery. So I have a training program just for buyers agents where they have to go through 16 sessions, business planning, prospecting, mastering open houses, internet lead conversions, and things like that. So it's not just a matter of hiring them, we have to hire them and train them. This one's a crazy one. Wait till you hear my compensation on listing partners, Marilyn. A listing partner, we pay 25 to 30%.
Wow.
And they list between 60 and 80 houses a year. And a good listing
Okay.
partner, we have some listing partners who do 125 houses a year. They make a great living, and all they have to do is prospect and go on listing appointments, and they turn it over to the team. The team does all the marketing and everything. When negotiation happens and offers come in, then of course they get involved in it, and then that makes it work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Dennis says 17 years in the industry. I don't think so. So Dennis, you're just getting started. So I love that. And I love that you're in the business 17 years and you've got a good flow for how you do the business. What's the next level? How do you double?
Yeah,
What has to happen?
that's the question, right? And
Right.
I have a question when you're recruiting someone at the 20% or 30% or 40% on the other side of the deal, are you finding it's generally newer people to the business, or is it some people that have gone it alone for a long time and said, I like money more than I like percentages? Is it a mix?
No, it's generally what happens is we take someone who is, our target agent is 12 to 18 months in the business. They've
Okay.
done less than 12 transactions because
Okay.
they're getting ready to come up on the renewal of their license. They're
Mm-hmm.
competent, meaning they can do a deal, but they don't know how to prospect. They don't know how to grow the business. And
Mm-hmm.
so they know that it's hard. So they come in with an experience of that it's hard to be in the business. When we create a culture of productivity, we build a whole culture around your business where
Mm-hmm.
people, there's a different energy of productivity that happens. And it's a very, very cool thing to be part of that. I met Christy Buck when she was in at a conference in Texas, and she was making about $250,000 a year in 2012. Last year she did 2.9 million in gross closed commission. This year she's on target to beat that. When we look at what her team production is, and using similar splits to what I just talked about, you know, this
Uh-huh.
is, I think, this was in May. I want to know how many people are on track to make $100,000 a year. I want all of her team members to make 100 grand. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5, like literally on track to make $100,000 or more in 2020
Okay.
on those kinds of splits. Because look at the number of units, 21.5, 12, 15, 5, 15, 9. So everyone's getting these minimum 2 transactions. My green are my brand new agents that we're just training right now, so they're in the ramp phase. If I were to show you what's pending right now, it'd blow your mind. I think that Melanie has 5 pending, Tyler's got 2 or 3 pending, so there's tremendous growth that's happening on the team. And so agents will earn more on a different split when they're allowed to focus on the things that generate income, and we incorporate a high level of accountability. I want to share this with you really quick. One of the things that's helped our teams be massively successful today is that we've transitioned them, not just from being specialists, but we've really helped them become masters of virtual real estate. Using technology like Zoom or GoToMeeting to be able to do virtual real estate, we've put together a list of all of the things that an agent has to have as far as virtual services in order to be successful. And many of these things aren't going to go away after COVID-19 is done. You know, when you show houses, it takes you 20 hours. I can now do those same houses in 30 minutes online. And we can eliminate the ones the clients don't really want to see and go look at the 2 physically. So I'm able to actually transact more using virtual services. And I want to just give this to everybody. So write this down, workmansuccess.com/RE Technology Bounce. And you can download a copy of Becoming a Master of Virtual Real Estate.
Yeah, that's in the chat too. So if you guys want to grab it's in the chat. So grab the link if you want to just not have to remember it.
Yeah, please take it. And then also a copy of my buyer specialist agreement, the onboarding process, and what we do as a buyer specialist. There's a tremendous amount of information on team building. And my commitment to you is over the next few months is to just share more and more as we break down, you know, what works and what doesn't work with teams. I've given you a little bit of structure today. But the most important thing that you need to know is this, is that we build our teams based on a set of core values, and we hire and fire to those core values. And when you hire and fire to your core values, what happens is you bring people in that are not just as good as you, but oftentimes better in their area of specialty. And that's our goal with building an A-team.
And there's a book that I would recommend that's based on that same concept. It's called Hiring for Attitude. Have you ever read that, Verl?
No, but I'm going to write it down. I love it. Who wrote? Do you know who wrote it?
I don't, but it's a really good one, because what it does is it kind of makes you think through first, what is my set of core values, right? Like if you don't know what you really want to be, then you're going to end up with a mishmash of people that some might be really good and might mesh with you naturally, and other people that are going to be not good with you at all. But it talks about that, and then it also gives you some really, really good tips about the ways and in literally the words to ask someone about how to hire them for attitude. Because you can, like you say, with someone that's engaged and smart, there's lots of good ways to teach them things. But if they come in with the wrong attitude, or they think they know more than they do, or they're for whatever reason don't align with who you want to be as a team, or in any kind of a business, not just a team, you can create a big disaster. So we hear a lot about, well, I hired that guy and he did 150 deals last year and he destroyed my entire company in the process, right? We don't want those kind of people necessarily. So anyway, but
we release people that don't fit the core values regardless of their production. And this is interesting. So I'm going to read that. I absolutely like that. A couple other books that you might find interesting is one written by a guy named Jeff Smart and Randy Street called Who, and it's solving America's biggest problem, and that's who to hire. And it has all kinds of great questions and helping identify the right players. And the other one is written by Patrick Lencioni, who wrote The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. He wrote The Ideal Team Player. And you mentioned this, Marilyn. You said, if they're smart and they have the right attitude, he talks about the 3 things they hire to: hungry, humble, and smart. And you got to have all 3. And then he gives questions and how to use the interview process to identify for hungry, humble, and smart.
I love that. That's so true. If the humble, especially if you don't have humble, it's just not going to ever work. It's just not.
Right. Yeah. Because you're not teachable.
No. You think you're smarter than everyone else, you're done.
I've been doing this a long time, and I'll tell you what, every day I wake up and I'm grateful to be surrounded by so many people who are so much smarter than me, because I call it the wisdom of the crowd. Everything we do in our coaching programs is, if you have a problem, we put it out to our crowd. Our crowd sources the solution, and we end up with amazing results because the crowd is much smarter than any individual. And I'm teachable, I'll tell you what, because I realize that there's so many amazing people in this industry. We are just surrounded by great and amazing people, and I just want to hang out with them.
And it's true. And the one thing about COVID that I absolutely take away, that brings me joy, because there's a lot of parts of it that don't, is watching how our industry responded and it's when its customers had need. People stepped up in ways that were just absolutely astonishing and just so much fun to watch. It's just inspiring to be around people that really do care about their customers so much. It's awesome.
I can't agree more, and it's fun to watch. We're doing a series. I'm a big believer you get by giving, and we're doing a series right now where we're interviewing. It's called The Faces of Real Estate, and we interview agents who are making a difference in their communities. And as I listen to what people do, it's not about the money that they give, but how they really get involved in their communities. That's the kind of people that need teams, because they're able to do more and they're able to make a bigger impact on the communities that they service. And it's really a cool thing. Robert says it's the American way. I absolutely agree with you, Robert. It's part of why I'm glad to be in America. I love this country. We have an amazing country with amazing people in it. We
sure do. Absolutely. Okay. What's your final for the group today? Then we'll tell them who's coming up later this week.
So my final thought for the group today is, ask yourself this: is it possible that you're not performing at a level that you're capable of because of the limiting beliefs you have about scale? And if it is possible that there might be another level you could perform at and you want to get there, reach out to me and let's have a conversation. I'll look at your business. We'll take a look at where you are and where you want to go and see if we can help you get there. The only beliefs, everybody has beliefs, Marilyn, that are based on their experiences. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to shake that up a little bit, help you create some new experiences and form some new beliefs on what's possible, because there really is no limit to what you can accomplish in this business. Somebody asked me, when's enough enough? And my answer is, when you've made enough money to take care of your family, the weddings and college and all the things you have coming up, your retirement's fully funded, you've given away all the money, and there's no one left in the world that needs anything, then you can quit. Until then, I'm going to continue to go for it, and I hope you do too.
I think we got a little work to do before we all get there. That's awesome. All right, let's just jump to the next slide. We'll just tell you who's coming up. So tomorrow we've got Greg Robertson. He was actually on the show when we first started this way back in April, and has since launched the product that he talked to us about, the new Cloud CMA Live. So he's going to show us what that's all about. That's a really cool product about virtual listing presentations. And then on Wednesday we've got Haas Pratt from Haas Pratt talking about how to become a listing boss. So we got another great coach. I don't know if he's got as much energy as you do, Verl. There's not very many people that do, but it'll be interesting nonetheless. Yeah, if you want to jump to the next slide then too, if you'd like us to register you automatically for these sessions that we're doing daily, just either put it into the question right there or send me an email at marilyn@retechnology.com and we'll get you signed up so you don't miss any of these goodies. And finally, last slide. You can sign up at for our YouTube channel at RE Technology Inc., just exactly the way it's spelled there. Hit the subscribe button and then make the bell solid, and you'll get notifications of all of the recordings and webinars that we do, which are awesome. And if you don't yet have a free subscription to RE Technology, most of you probably have gotten it through your MLSs. It's normally $200 a year for an agent, but you get it free from your MLS. So, but if you don't, for whatever reason, go to retechnology.com. Up on the right-hand side, you'll see a create account button. Click there to the monthly option and then type in the code, and we'll give you a three-month subscription because we want you to hear all about this. Oh, and here's a little testimonial for you, Verl. Dennis said, I did 3 years in Verl's program and I learned a lot. He's one of the people that's the most engaged on this. So you've taught him how to be a lifelong learner, among other things. So good job.
That's awesome. How you doing, Dennis? Good to see you.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I appreciate you coming today. And this whole concept of teams, and I think that anybody in sales can benefit from your thinking about that you're never done, right? You can always grow your business if you continue to rethink about what your core value is and who and what can surround you, whether that's technology or people or systems or attitude. A lot of it's attitude, right? You got to start with that. If you don't have good attitude, none of it happens. But all of that can help all of you be more and more successful. And I think the final word I'd love to leave with, Verl, that you're so smart about is remembering why you're doing real estate. Are you doing it just for the next dollar, or are you doing it so that you can buy that boat that you want for the weekend, or to bring all your family together, or to send your kid to that college that you might not have been able to afford before, or whatever it is in your life that inspires you and makes you feel fulfilled as a human. That's really what real estate's all about at the end of the day. So remember that. If you're not feeling that from real estate, you probably shouldn't be doing it. It's way too much work. So anyway, thank you so much, Verl. I really appreciate it. This is a great conversation. And yeah, he's got hours and hours and hours more ideas for you guys. So let me know in the box. If you want me to bring them back on, we'll have them come back on and we'll do some more of this. And it's really fun. So have a great day, everybody, and have a great week. And stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.